Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is A Cold Fire Within. It was written by Christopher Smith Adair, and it's available from the Chaosium website and from the Drive-Thru RPG website. Our game master is Zane Fleming, and this is episode 1. So, without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. Zane?
Thank you very much, Tom. So before we kick in, I did want to just say, I forgot to mention this in the last video, but I was very lucky to have the music that you hear at the beginning, at the end of this new series was composed by my very good friend, Aaron Fagan. It's a great track. I absolutely love it, and we're really grateful that he was able to create something for us. If you like the track and would like to support him, a link to Aaron's Bandcamp is linked below in the video. I think it's only like a couple of dollars. Yeah, it's called Elder Calling. Yeah, go check it out. He wrote it specifically for us. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Now, we're about to jump into A Cold Fire Within. We're going to quickly go around the circle, as it were, and have all the players introduce their characters. Even though I'm sure most of you probably watched the Session Zero, so you kind of have an idea of who people are playing, but we'll just do a quick recap and then we will, I'll give some intro into the story. So let's start with Matthew Sanderson.
Right. Hello there. I'm Matt, your player, playing Milton Blake, a parapsychologist in the modern day terms, but I'm not sure that the term would have been around at that point in time. Let's say a investigator into the strange and unusual, with an interest in folklore. He's had a couple of books published about folklore and ghost stories back home in the UK, around England, Wales, Scotland, and he's working on probably his magnum opus, his investigation into strange haunted places on the east coast of the US, and also anywhere else in the US that sparks his interest. As I currently living in New York with good friends around him and an ever-increasing bar bill at Bargles as well, a lovely gentleman's club.
Next, let's have Mark.
Hello, good evening. I'm Mark. I'll be playing Owen Dorcha, 29-year-old dilettante and ex-Catholic from Bundoran in Ireland. Now in accommodation in a 2-bedroom apartment with his good friend Damiel. Owen and his older brother emigrated to the States after their parents passed away, and they took with them a healthy inheritance. Ronan, his brother, traveled over with spiritual purpose, whereas Owen traveled with a bit more immediate gratification purpose. His brother introduced him to Damiel, who's part of the seminary, and he subsequently introduced Owen to the Arcane Society. I think he brought him along because he tells good Irish ghost stories. He's a respectful fella, polite, and he's quite adventurous. He used to get into fights in school just for the pure sake of entertainment. But miraculously, he's never broken a bone, even sprained anything, such as the luck of the Irish.
And then let's hand over to Tom.
The truth is, my friend, Father Ronan, he's a Roman Catholic. I'm Greek Orthodox, but we're friends. He wants me to take to make sure that his brother doesn't get into too much trouble. It's true. I'm going to St. Seraphim's Orthodox Seminary currently. Where it's in Yonkers. We're currently on hiatus, but I was born in Greece on an island of Aegina, and I immigrated here about 5 years ago. I'm now currently attending the seminary. So that's really about all there is. Owen gets into some, he's young, he's still addicted to the happiness and the joys of the pleasures of indulgence. And I mean, I'm not here to judge. I just I hope that I keep him a little from going overboard. And that's about it.
Awesome. Marsden, David.
The name is Marsden Lethbridge. I am a polymath, a genius, a student of the real and the unreal. My purpose in the Arcane Society is to uncover things that the natural sciences have not yet revealed to me. I'm currently sharing a workshop in the laboratory with this fellow Wyatt, who is extremely handy. And one of the mysteries that I have yet to uncover is a talent that I possess that I cannot yet explain, that of using exotic playing cards as a form of divination.
Awesome. And then let's hand over to your assistant, Jason.
Hi, I'm Jason. Today I'll be playing Wyatt Chambers. Wyatt was born to overprotective parents and grew up in New Jersey, right across from New York, where he lives now. And at the age of 12, he snuck out on his 12th birthday to go to New York City. Lo and behold, ran into some street toughs, severely beaten, scarred his face, grounded into the concrete. He was in a coma for 8 months. And once he came out, he was basically kept in the house. He wasn't allowed to leave. His father was in the Great War, a mechanic and engineer. His mom liked electrical appliances, so he basically grew up in the basement of his house, creating, breaking, destroying, and building new things. If it's broke, I can fix it. If it doesn't exist, I can make it. So I have to live with this the rest of my life, and you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Thank you.
Awesome. So I want to start the game off with a few quotes by various authors and people who are known for having an interest in the darker stories, just to help get the players in the mood. Sometimes you wake, sometimes the fall kills you, and sometimes when you fall, you fly. Neil Gaiman. I become insane with long intervals of horrible sanity. Edgar Allan Poe. Every man is put on earth condemned to die. Time and method of execution unknown. Rod Sterling. The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all of its contents. H.P. Lovecraft. All right. Wednesday, May 8th, 1935. Manhattan, New York City. You slept soundly after traveling the US for the past 6 weeks. It's nice to finally sleep in your own bed. As you awoke, you feel a warm, gentle breeze coming from the open window, somewhat ruined by the noise coming from the Manhattan streets below. But over the years, you've learned to drown such things out. You get up and make your way over to your ensuite and start your morning ritual. Once completed, you go back to your room and find something to wear to breakfast, where you and your friends will officially debrief from your recent trip, debunking paranormal activities in various hotels, mansions, and secluded cabins in the woods, even a hunting lodge near Bangor, Maine. Once you were satisfied with your appearance, you glanced at the clock on your nightstand. 10:50 a.m. You all agreed to meet for a late breakfast, early lunch in the smallest dining room at Bargles, Eats Minor, at 11 a.m. Best to head down and join the others. It is at this moment a cold chill climbs up your back with such a degree you let out a small gasp. You cannot explain it, but all of a sudden you have overcome with a terrible feeling of foreboding. You have these feelings occasionally and can normally ignore them, but this time it's different, more intense, harder to push aside. Nevertheless, you quickly compose yourself and make your way to Eats Minor to join the rest of your friends. So, Milton, Marsden, and Wyatt, you all arrive in East Minor around about the same time. Sam has set up the table for you and enough for your members that are coming. You guys usually like to eat East Minor because it has just enough seats and space available for your little group. So you find it a good secluded place for you to all speak freely and so on and so forth. Sam is standing there as you enter and pulls out your chair as you all sit down and asks you all what you would like for breakfast this morning.
Well, thank you, Sam. The usual 2 cups of coffee, 2 wheat biscuits, and a grapefruit.
Yes, of course, Mr. Lethbridge.
Also, creature of habit, I'll go for the usual. So plenty of meat that when I poke it, I can still hear it go moo and taste its last thoughts. And a couple of Irish coffees with more of the Irish than the coffee, please.
Of course, Mr. Blake. And Mr. Chambers. I believe you're muted, sir.
Little something in my throat. Espresso black and 2 sunny side up.
Of course, sir. Will Mr. Dorsha and Dracos be joining you this today?
Yes, we expect them shortly.
Excellent. And Sam, one of the many Sams of Bargles, leaves the room and leaves the 3 of you to discuss.
Well, Martin, I think that bed and breakfast was just publicity to get people to stay there. There was no witch, no haunting.
No, I really feel that the primary utility of that entire excursion was in determining the depths of the perfidy of the American imagination. Liars, frauds, cretins. Interesting scenery, I thought. Some geological features of.
There's something also more satisfying about finding someone that's actually actively trying to deceive their patrons rather than it just being another squeaky door or another rattling pipe. It's nice to actually find something deliberate behind it for once.
It's true. I expected to see more hysteria than we did.
It is at this moment that there's a knock at the door, and yet another Sam opens the door and says, "Gentlemen, so sorry to disturb you. I have Mr. Dracos and Dorka here to see you."
Very well, thank you.
And Sam gestures for Damiel and Owen to enter Eats Minor.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, fellas. How yous all keeping?
Morning.
Well, gentlemen, good to see you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dorka, Dracos, what exactly would you like for breakfast, gentlemen?
I like the look of what Milton's having over there. Smells good too. I'll have what he's having. Thank you very much, Sam.
Could you bring me just some fresh fruit and a black coffee, please?
Of course, sir. And yet again, Sam leaves the room quick smart.
My, that all smells delicious.
Definitely what you need at this time of the morning. In fact, any time of the morning.
Could you all give me a spot hidden?
I felt that. I'm enjoying my espresso.
Passed. Just a regular.
Nope, I fail. I've still got a hangover.
95. I'm more concentrating on my drink.
So, Damiel, you're the only one to notice. Okay.
That's because I'm not.
You at this point in time happen to glance out the window. You're closest to the window in the room, and you can see across the street Melody Sterling who you know from the Arcane Society. You know her and her husband. They joined around about the same time that you all did, and you can see her crossing the street, and she looks extremely distressed and very. Normally, she's got her hair done up very nicely, and she's very well kept together. But she's looking very like she's just sort of gotten up and thrown on some clothes and things like that. And she seems to be crossing the street and heading towards Bargles.
Gentlemen, is that not Mrs. Sterling there? She looks like she's in distress.
Hmm?
They're crossing the street. She's coming this direction.
Yes, nobody should
As he
coordinate
points it
her.
out, you will notice her. Yeah.
I stand up and I move to go retrieve her. If
Yeah. Sure.
I'll-
So
I don't actually wait to see if anybody follows me. I just go. If they follow me, they follow me.
so as you leave Zeet's Major, and if anyone else goes with you,
Actually, I would be going with him.
yeah, sure. You exit Eats Manger and you go down about 2 levels in the kind of, it's not a spiral staircase, but it's one of those kind of
Right.
flows along the walls. And you go down about 2 levels and you get to the kind of front sitting room, and there you can see Melody Sterling seems to be having not an argument, but she seems to be quite strongly requesting that the Sam at the door let her through to speak with someone, and she's demanding, I must speak with him. I must.
Mrs. Sterling. And I go immediately out to her. Mrs. Sterling.
Oh, Daniel. And then Sam sort of, Mr. Dracos, you know this woman.
Of course, please.
Yes.
Come inside. And I take her and I bring her in. What's the matter, my dear?
Oh, Daniel, it's horrible. I think I need to sit down. Where are the others? I need to speak with you all.
We're upstairs. Please come with me.
And she sort of, as you lead her up the stairs, she seems to be holding onto your arm quite tightly. You can
Right.
tell, without doing any kind of psychology check, this woman's is distressed and really not in a good place.
Whatever has happened.
So obviously she enters the room, and you all that didn't follow will see.
And if
Melody.
I pass anybody, I'm like, please bring some water.
There's always a Sam around, and Sam of Shredwetter, and scampers off to go and retrieve some ice water.
I pull out a chair for her.
Sit down.
She takes it and with on the verge of tears, she takes a little handkerchief out of her handbag and sort of dabs at her eyes, and she's goes, I came here the other day, but they told me that you was still away on your tour. Oh, God.
We just arrived back, yes.
What is it? What is disturbing you?
It's Brendan. He's gone. He's missing.
How long has he been missing?
I saw him on the 2nd. That was the last time I saw him, but I didn't realize he was missing until God, what was it? And she pulls out sort of like an address book, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
She's on the 6th. On the 6th, that was the day I really thought things were strange. He's been acting odd for a few weeks now, but I just thought it was a midlife crisis or something, or he was just stressed at work and things. But oh God, it's.
Do you think? Have you alerted the authorities, the police? The anticipation is killing us. He lost sound.
Yeah.
One of the only drawbacks of wireless.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to eat my fresh fruit. So my prayers.
Sam to
Eat my
bring 2
fresh
more
fruit.
cups of coffee.
Mhm.
Now, did
just
she
leave the
say
bottle.
that she hadn't seen him since the 2nd, but she didn't know he was
She didn't
missing
think
until
about
the
it until the
6th?
6th, right?
Yeah.
And what's
And it's the
today?
Curious marriage.
The 8th.
It's 8th, yeah.
So he's been missing for 6 days. Possibly.
He's been acting funny for a couple of weeks as well.
That is one hell of a tooth to extract for a dentist if it takes 6 days.
Testing.
Goes all the way down to his intestines.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Hang on. This is annoying. There we go. Got it. Got it.
Mhm.
Sorry about that. Shit. Obviously not enough charge in my new headphones. That's okay. So
She hasn't seen him since the 6th.
yes.
Something about the police was the question. Have you gone to the
Yes, I
authorities?
just said.
Yes.
Have you alerted the authorities? Have you called the police?
Yes. No, I called the police, but they insinuated that he was just off with a woman. They were no help at all.
Well, you say he was acting strangely. Tell us.
Yes. Well, he's been acting odd. He's been forgetting things, and I keep catching him staring off in the distance, and then when I sort of snap him out of it, he has no memory of what he was doing or anything. He hasn't been himself. And like I said, I thought it was just stress or something, but I'm so worried. I'm so worried, gentlemen.
And you say that you have not seen him since the 2nd, but you were not stressed until the 6th?
Yes, he came home late on the 2nd, and he'd been out with some friends, and he came in late, and it was quite late. It was about 2 a.m, and he mumbled something about going away for the weekend, camping with his friends, and I didn't think anything of it at the time, but now he's not returned, and well, on the 6th, this is so embarrassing. I had to go to the bank to withdraw some money to pay for the rent and groceries and such. He's cleaned out the bank account.
Oh dear.
I have nothing.
Oh my
Presumably,
goodness.
this is why the authorities think that there's another woman involved.
Marston, I assure you, Brandon loves me very much. He would not do such a thing.
Was anyone at the bank able to tell you from where he made this final withdrawal?
No, they just said that he came in, and I believe the day they said that he came in was on the 3rd. So the day after he came home late, it was the day the bank teller told me that he took out everything.
So he went camping on a mattress of your life savings.
Yes, no.
Yes, that's what I see. It seems strange, and you all know Brandon. He's not the type to go camping. He's a
Dentists
dentist.
like their creature comforts.
I am sad to say that the police may be right. As hard as it is to believe. Do you have a place to stay? Are you staying with your family, or
No, I don't.
do you have a
My
means
family.
to get to your family?
My family have all passed. Unfortunately, all I had left was Brandon. I still have the apartment we own, but the rent will be due soon, and I have no means to.
Do you have friends?
Well, yes, that's why I'm here.
No, I mean female friends
Oh,
that
yes.
you can maybe stay with.
Oh, yes, I suppose so.
And your husband is a dentist, correct?
Yes.
Have you checked his office?
Yes, no, I've been to the office and it's everything's as it was,
Have
as
you
normal.
checked with his secretary, the receptionist?
Well, I function as a secretary, as a
Oh,
receptionist.
okay.
Family business. So when he was, he didn't specify obviously the friends he was going camping with.
No, but I have a sneaking suspicion.
Hmm.
But it seems highly unlikely he went camping.
Certainly. But who were the friends?
The friends might just be an excuse.
Back in January, Brandon started seeing a hypnotist. And he
hypnotist.
started spending a lot of time with him, a man by the name of Ferdinand Argust.
Argast?
Argus.
Argus.
Argus, yes.
Argus.
Like
Yes.
the Greek ship that
Jason took.
Jason took. Yes, the Argus.
Oh,
Milton,
yes.
do you know the fellow?
Is it a name I recognise?
Give me a. Let's go with an occult check.
Okay. 44 is a regular success.
It's a name you've potentially heard of. You might have seen like clippings in the newspaper of kind of advertising it. It's the sort of name that kind of, because it's a strange name, it pops out, but then you forget about it, and then when someone mentions it again, I go, yes, I do remember seeing that in a newspaper article.
Is it in reference to like an ad for his services, or
Yes,
promoting
correct.
a stage show? Because if he's
yeah,
a stage hypnotist,
hypnotist therapy type thing. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, the name's popped up in the papers before. Thankfully, he doesn't appear to be a like a stage performer. He actually seems to be a bit more legit.
He took me to one of the sessions once, and it's. I don't know if I'd use the word legit. It just seemed like a bunch of mumbling and got horrible incense. But well, Brendan seems to like it.
Was there, oh, sorry,
Please, Wyatt.
particular reason why he was going to see this man? Did he have a problem?
Well, I think he was, as you know, us all in the Arcane Society, we're always trying to strengthen our mind and open to new experiences. Well, Brandon saw the article in the paper and thought he'd give it a try.
I'm wondering if our line of investigation should see if we can find what his secret life was all about. Perhaps I know that Brendan was probably not cheating on you, but at the same time, it wouldn't hurt to see if we can find out where he's been and see if he has in fact been seeing someone.
So you'll help?
Well, in any case, he's a cad. He left you nothing in the bank, nothing at all.
Nothing at all. At all.
That's just, even if he was a cheater and was leaving, he should at least have left you something.
Trackus, I think it's natural to suspect that the man is not entirely acting under his own volition. A delicate question, madam. Is there a history in his family of dementia?
Not that I know of, but we never spoke of such things, I'm afraid.
Keeper, how old is Melody and Brandon?
Melody and Brandon are in their kind of mid to late 30s.
Oh, okay. So they're not old. Okay.
No.
I'm going to wave down at Sam and tell him to bring me a couple local newspapers.
Yes.
Spot on,
yep.
Wyatt. We want an advertisement.
It's probably the same Sam that had come in to give Melody her glass of water, which she quite quickly downed. And that seemed to help her. She sort of calmed down a little bit with the cold water and the being able to sit down and finally being able to speak with you all.
Madam Sterling, do you recall where he saw the advertisement that interested him so?
Oh, yes, it was in the Times, I believe.
Good, that should be easy enough then.
That implies he's got money to get an advert in that kind of paper.
Yeah.
Oh, and on the note of the rent, you don't need to worry about that.
Oh, Blake, I couldn't.
There's no two ways about it. You need it, and I can supply it. So honestly, don't worry about it.
She gets up from her seat and rushes over and gives you a very warm hug.
I'll give her a pat on the back. So I'm not going to let a lady, and I'm certainly not going to let a friend lose a roof over their head. So no, don't be silly.
You have all, gentlemen, you're already showing more kindness and help than the police.
I'm sure that's a very low bar indeed. I'm afraid I must balance that warmth with more impertinent questions. What clothing did he take away on this supposed camping trip?
Well, that is the strange thing, that nothing's been taken. Only the money.
Yeah, so again, it doesn't sound as though he's beginning a new life with another love. He would like his cufflinks under such circumstances.
Well, like I said, the only thing missing is his tweed suit, his favorite tweed suit, which I believe he may have been wearing the night he came in. But other than that, everything else seems to be in order.
We will immediately begin to investigate this. Could you write us down, let's say, a list of his friends and relatives? Somebody might know more than what you know.
Yes, of course. And
if he, like you say, he's a dentist. I'm sure he has other medical people that he is familiar with. People like that. People that he might go to to get a schwitz. Friends, colleagues, they might, locker room talk. They might know something.
I'd have to go back to his to the office to look up such things, but I'm more than happy to do so. I can make you a list now of the people that I can think of offhand, and then I suppose we'll go from there. So she starts to she pulls out a page from her pocketbook and starts to jot down some names. At this moment, that Sam returns with local newspapers and takes them over to you, Wyatt. Here you are, sir.
I kind of toss a paper to each person and at the table, minus the lady, and say, "Gents, let's see if we can find this ad."
Cool. So there's 4 papers in total. Who would like to take one up? Okay, Wyatt's got one.
Oh, I'll take one.
Marsden, Damiel, and Milton.
I'll look after Melody. So
okay, so Owen is doing the 4th paper. All of you can give me a library use.
I found the newspaper. I got an 01.
Oh, wow. 43 out of 45.
I got an 05. We're wasting rolls. Damn it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm too busy looking at the pictures. I failed.
Oh, comics.
Owen is distracted by on page 2. There's an article about him. Handsome Irish,
wealthy socialite.
Single, yeah, exactly.
And on page 3, there's a picture this big of a man going. And
almost instantaneously, Damiel turns to the page, and it's a small box with a strange kind of circle with what looks like almost like a tree inside the circle. It says Ferdinand Argus, hypnotherapist. call now. All your questions will be answered.
Is that Damiel showing the article to the rest of us?
Yeah, there it is.
All of you that passed would have. He found it instantaneously, but all of you don't take too long to find the article in your paper as well.
I was trying to find it for you because you asked to find it. So there it is.
Does that symbol have any occult significance?
Oh, give me an occult roll.
74. I'm not going to burn 24 luck in the first session. Not yet on that kind of roll.
You would have had to have got a pretty good one anyway.
Looks like a 3.
So yeah, it doesn't look like anything that's that you're aware of. It just looks like a strange logo, Yeah.
Milton, would a nefarious hypnotist be able to hypnotize somebody into emptying their bank account?
A good con artist can do that without having any hypnosis.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah, gypsies in Bundoran were notorious for it. Happened to one of my friends.
Yes, but it doesn't sound like there's any Romia involved in this. It just sounds like I would almost expect a religious organization. They're the kind that can get you to take all of your money.
Is that so, brother?
But a hypnotist?
Madam Sterling, when you accompanied Brendan on that occasion, where was this hypnotist's office, or was it in his apartment or a public space?
He came to us that time.
You know where
What's your
Brendan
impression?
Of him? Well, very strange man. He's extremely tall and very broad-shouldered. Had almost like a kind of dark, turning grey, long hair to about his shoulders, and a very large, forked beard.
Sounds very showman-like.
Yes, ostentatious. Did he come to see Brendan when you weren't present, or did Brendan go to see him?
Brandon went to see him usually, but on this one occasion, he came to us to try, I guess, attempt to hypnotize me. It wasn't very successful. Apparently, I don't have an open mind enough. Nonsense.
He was there to case out your house if he was a con man. See what doodads you got there, your financial living.
As I said, everything's there, and we have this very expensive furniture and paintings and the like. If he wanted to rob the place, he would have done so.
No, but he knew if you have expensive stuff in the house, you have a big bank account.
I suppose so, yes.
There's also the certain degree of urgency here. I mean, those assets would take time to liquidate. You'd have to find a buyer, you'd have to arrange transport, etc. This is pick up and go kind of urgency, quick.
Oh, I didn't realize there was such a science to it all.
Do you live in a house or an apartment?
An apartment, yes. Upper East Side.
And he didn't take his clothes, just
tweed suit.
Very strange.
He cleaned you out on Friday the 3rd. What was it about the 6th that alarmed you? Oh, that's when you went to the bank?
That's when that's when I went to the bank.
What are you telling his clients?
Well, I've just told them that he's sick.
Are you rescheduling them for the future out of hope that he'll return to normal?
I thought best to not. I've told them that he is quite ill at this point and is not taking any more appointments until we know if he would recover or not. I thought that was best.
Smart.
And you said that he was absent-minded and so on. Did it seem to affect the care of his patients before his departure?
Yes. There was a few times he was meant to go to appointments, various people, certain hotels and certain people of quite high echelon here in New York, and he would completely miss the meeting. I would tell him after that he couldn't make such mistakes. We have a reputation to uphold.
When he visited your apartment, he offered you nothing to eat or drink?
When he came to us, yes, of course, we offered tea and food.
But he offered you nothing?
No, nothing like that. The only thing he brought with him was, as I said, he had an incense burner with a strange.
And he brought that to your house?
Yes, it was like a sickly sweet, flowery type smell, and he also had an amulet on a chain.
Maybe for the hypnotism.
Can you remember what the amulet looked like?
Yes, it. And she sort of glances over at the paper you've got open, Wyatt, and that's it. And points at the oval.
Symbol. Well, we need to look into this tree snake thing.
Did you say snake?
Well, it's kind of serpentine, don't you think? A little bit.
Oh, wow.
Makes me think of can't remember the name of the snake now. It sounds Norse, or something vaguely like that.
Yggdrasil, that's the...
Yeah, I was thinking of the snake that wrapped itself around the great oak tree of the world.
No, Yggdrasil is the tree.
Yeah.
Yorodumont, can never pronounce it. One of Loki's sons.
My knowledge of Norse mythology is tertiary at best,
The
superficial at best.
That
Right.
reminds me of Joshua tree, a tree of life type, but distorted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are all in the Arcane Society, so we've had exposure
Right.
to a lot of occult sort of things.
I forget the lady's name. What's her name again?
Melody Sterling.
I turned to her and asked her if she wants some food, and we should get, when she leaves, I'm going to put her in a cab and give her money to pay so she gets home safe.
She well, if it's not too much trouble, I would some eggs and bacon would be lovely.
Sam, a double breakfast, brown baguette.
And Sam sort of pops his head in. Right away, sir.
Would
It's a
be
different
impolite.
Sam every single time.
Would be impolite to let the young lady eat alone, and we must go. At least I want to go to this address.
Is there an address or only a phone number on the...
There's just only a phone number on the newspaper article.
And does the Arcane Society maintain a library?
Yes, yeah. At the moment, it's where you guys meet for your things is at Professor Oscar Kilgrave's home. He lives in I'm blanking now. What's the? It's near New York. It's kind of like
Queens, Bronx.
the kind of beach place where all the rich folks go.
Long Island.
That's the one.
Hamptons?
Yeah, he lives in Long Island,
Mm-hmm.
and he has quite an extensive library and things there, which he may not have procured a few books from his alma mater, Arkham Miskatonic.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we'll want to repair to the Arcane Library at some point and see whether that... I think that tree insignia is rather unusual. The fact that there are only branches coming from one side of the tree strikes me as unhealthy, to say the least.
Well, I think that what is most significant about it is that we haven't seen it before.
Right.
We can immediately rule out 100 different groups, which is excellent. My dear, you
Sam comes in with the food for Melody, and she starts to, and she here's that list you asked for,
Yes.
Daniel. So on the list is a few names. There's Leopold Fontanelli, Fernand Argus, Professor Oscar Kilgrave, which obviously you guys know. And she also writes The League of the Forgotten Men.
Do we know what that is?
Give me a what current events? Give me a knowledge roll.
Intelligence, yeah.
Quite apt considering he was forgetting a lot of stuff around the time.
08.
10.
Oh,
We're
6.
85.
Oh, geez, we are using up all of our good rolls.
Yep.
Yes, those of you who passed, the League of the Forgotten Men have been a group that over the past year or so have been kind of garnering quite a reputation and building in numbers. And they are... They're a group of men predominantly who have certain beliefs about the current running of the United States, and believe that other groups from overseas have a better idea of how things should be done. Predominantly
rise-
from Germany.
I was going to say the rise of fascism in Germany, Italy, etc.
Yeah, very much this is a fascist group.
Sort of Lindberghian, you might say.
Not the group that you would expect Brandon to be associating with in any way.
Not a big overlap between the Arcane Society and that sort.
Well, there are lots of ideas going around nowadays. The exploration of what is possible in forms of government, it's all nonsense. We all need to get an imp back, is what we need.
An imp?
Emperor. Somebody who can cut through all the red tape and say, I want you to do this now, and it gets done.
There was another name that came up on that list, Leopold Fontanelli. Do we know anything about him?
Give me an occult roll.
I'll put points in this.
21. Got it.
35, so that is a regular success.
Leopold.
Leopold Fontanelli, you haven't heard the name, you've only heard the name in passing at the Arcane Society. But the reason he gets brought up at the Arcane Society is he very famously had a very large argument with Professor Kilgrave, and is the only person ever to be banned from the society.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Because of that thing, you remember.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Ma'am,
sorry.
I must ask you a delicate question. Did your husband play cards, gamble, drinking problem?
Oh,
Does he owe any money to any not so nice gentleman?
Oh, I don't think he really. I mean, he wasn't unheard of to drink or to occasionally play cards. I'm sure, but no, I don't think he owed anyone money that I know of. But look,
it's obviously that he had a secret life, which we will have to uncover.
Exactly. That, unfortunately, as it turns out, husbands don't always tell their wives everything about their lives.
That's true.
Melody, would it be fair to say that he started acting strange around the time he met with this hypnotist?
Not straight away,
but afterwards.
Yes.
All right, we'll definitely look into this. Beseech your meal.
I'll take details of where I need to get money sent to cover the rent and so on.
Yeah, she gives you the bank that they use, Yeah, so she gives you the address for that as well. She gives you an address for the offices for her and Brandon. They gives you an address for her home, the bank. Yeah, and she tells you anything you need just to call, and she gives her number as well.
Will do.
Madam Sterling, allow me to recommend that you, if there are any remaining appointments scheduled for the office, that you preemptively phone or message those people and tell them that Brendan's had a family emergency and had to leave town, which will be less likely to cause them to look for services elsewhere or fear for some form of contagion.
Oh, that's of course, that's a great idea. Thank you so much, Mr. Lethbridge.
And I suppose, gentlemen, that we should independently phone our new friend, Mr. Argus. I think I'd like to take the first appointment and take my chemical sample set with me and determine what the nature of this incense is that Mr. Sterling found so appealing and Mrs. Sterling found so repellent. It sounds to me as though there's some sort of narcotic effect involved.
Yeah, for all we know, it's opium.
I'll be able to tell you a great deal about it if I can take a look at it. Our church uses a great deal of incense, and we have quite a few different flavors, if you will. So I should be able to identify it fairly easily. Unless it's something completely unusual. You say a narcotic, possibly.
Melody, she's finished her breakfast, and she gets up and thanks you all.
As soon as she stands up, I stand up.
Yes, of course, we all stand up.
She thanks you all for, thank you so much for all your help. And like I said, if you need anything, any more information, call me. And then if you hear anything, call me. I suppose I'd best get going. I need to go and organise things. And as Marsden said, start making some calls.
Damn.
Thank you again. And she goes kind of along the line and gives you all a warm hug, and then leaves.
I give
and
her.
Wyatt, you said you'd go with her.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk her down, hail a cab, and then pay the cab, and then
Awesome.
I'm gonna hand her a couple, grocery money or whatever, a couple dollars.
Or she
Just so she
squeezes your
knows.
hand and thank you so much.
I'm
Well-
thinking at least 90% is that he's probably run off with some bimbo.
We'll get to the bottom of it, and then I go make sure she gets in and away before I go back upstairs.
I mean, it's
Oh yeah,
hard-
most
it's-
definitely.
Politics is a great way to drain money out of someone. They're always looking for rich backers.
Well, there's the only other possibility, I suppose, is that somebody's convinced him to give him all their money.
That's what I'm thinking. This political group, they're
Possibly,
always looking for fundraisers.
Yeah.
It could even be the narcotics. I mean, the dentist might have got liked a taste of his own medicine, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you
But-
wanted a bit more.
Well, we need to find out from others to see if he had a gambling problem, if he had a problem with drugs, if he had a problem with joining strange religious cults, or
Absolutely.
hypnotists who can. I didn't think that a hypnotist could actually force you to do something you didn't want to do.
You can up to a point, but I would have thought that something this significant would be a little bit beyond the realm of that.
Especially if he truly loved his wife.
This is why I suspect there might be some substance involved that alters the range of potential behavior.
I mean, if I ever need to do anything, all I need to do is rely on this. I don't need to worry about having any drugs, incense, flashing lights, or anything like that. I mean, it might be able to make someone more suggestible, but depends what it is that they're using.
I've heard that hypnotism works because it reveals what the person originally wanted and knew in their heart.
Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe he wanted that all along, and the hypnotist fed into that.
I have also
Potentially.
heard that you have to believe in hypnotism for it to actually work on you.
There's a degree of that as well.
Well, either
It doesn't
way,
work on everyone.
horrible to leave a woman with zero money in the bank. And all
That's
the-
what makes no sense. I thought they were quite in love.
Even if he wasn't in love, leave money. You don't just walk
Yeah,
away.
he's not the. Didn't come across to me as a cad.
Oh, no, I think we all thought that they were a respectable couple in every respect, did we not?
Yeah.
You know, we are in the Arcane Society. We better make sure that he hasn't gotten involved in something much darker.
Mhm.
And
Well, where do we start first, gents?
well, we start with this hypnotist. At least we'll see how long it takes to get an appointment with him.
Should we do it covertly, or should we just storm in there and demand?
Oh, I'm going to approach him as if I were, interested in some sort of intervention from his mystical powers. The only question for me is whether it should be I who goes first, or it should be Milton, who can study his technique.
Either way, somebody should accompany or at least wait outside.
Oh, yes. And should we have some sort of, I don't know, password, so that if Milton is replaced by some sort of demonic doppelganger, we can confirm to make sure that he's not replaced.
Sláinte.
Mhm.
I say that in
Gaelic.
joking, but you know.
If you can get me to eat vegetables at lunchtime, you know definitely something's wrong.
It's all I can eat on Wednesdays.
I definitely think accompanying Marsden would be a good idea. I can then be the friend to help him get back, or the designated driver. Hey, we could even take you to him to say you've got a problem with the booze. That please, can you help my friend resist the urge to pick up the bottle? And I'm there to help drive him home afterwards, and then I can not critique, but definitely take notes of what he's doing in the process.
Well,
And then if necessary, undo it afterwards.
We have to be careful to reserve judgment on both sides, because we don't know what their home and private life was actually like. If we find him, he might say, well, yeah, I left her because I loved her too much and I couldn't find any way to tell her, so I just left. And then it's a private thing that we can't really get involved in. We can at least tell her he's okay.
Oh yeah, there's always two sides to every
There's
story.
always two sides to this. Sorry, but
I think that it's quite relevant that he didn't take any clothing away.
that's very strange.
So if a man wants to run off and start a new life, shouldn't he bring at least underclothes
Well,
for that endeavor?
I wondered if she actually really looked, because if you're going to sneak away, then you take a suitcase, you put your clothes in it, you hide it in the closet, and then when your wife is gone, you grab that and you go.
Or if you've got enough money, just buy more clothes where you're going.
That's true.
He's also abandoning his lucrative practice.
Right.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Now, the man's been kidnapped, fallen. Given that he was apparently not entirely mentally competent, he might have, fallen under the subway tracks and been mistaken for a derelict when they scraped up his bloody mass.
So
He certainly needs to be somewhere, have something to wear, something to do.
perhaps we should consider that as well, checking the hospitals and the morgue.
There's a lot of hospitals and a lot of morgues in a town this big.
Yes, indeed. I'm gonna. Do we buzz for Sam? Ring for Sam? Knock for Sam?
You
Bell pull?
buzz. There'll be like a little pulley on the wall.
And I assume he can bring us a telephone.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And where did they live here in Manhattan?
Yes, yeah.
The Upper East Side.
I'll tell you what, while you guys are doing that, I will go and check at the hospitals and the morgues. I look like a priest, so I can probably just go in and ask. Nobody will question.
We're going to divide and conquer.
We'll meet back here this evening.
Doc, I'll go back to the lab and continue working on something, or do you want me to do some research? And
Good question. It's not immediately evident what if there's a new project that this circumstance inspires.
well, when you had mentioned the chemical, it brought to me the idea of that little tear gas gun I was thinking about. We had mentioned it on the train coming back from Maine.
It's a worthy project to take away with, certainly.
Dorcha, your name carries a little bit of weight in this town, doesn't it?
I
With
just
the
know
women.
But
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I was thinking if you
I just
showed
like
up
being friendly.
with a priest to some precincts or hospitals by dropping your name, might get some expedited answers.
Might get him in the newspaper.
That's true too.
Sounds like a plan. Another thing I was thinking, do we know if Leopold does, is it strictly one-to-ones he does, or does he do like public, almost like a party tricks, if you would, like would he do it for bars?
Oh, you're thinking
like,
of Argus?
Oh yes, Argus, sorry. Who did I say, Leopold?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Ferdinand, my mistake.
I see where you're going with that. After the Doc and Milton make their analysis, maybe we could call him to do a party and get him into a room alone.
I was more thinking along the terms of if he does do public shows, we could maybe find a tavern or, you know, a previous place he hosted it in and see if we could see if there was anything weird that went on, like speak to the barkeep.
Good call.
You could certainly look into his past.
Yeah.
If there's any discrepancies, there'll be breadcrumbs all over the past.
Yes, Mr. Chambers, you have a lot of experience with some public records, don't you? Don't you have to file permits and things like that for some of your work?
Yeah.
You should be able to go in and look up to see, you know, the building that he's in, what, you know, his rent, things like that, as if you were looking up other municipal.
Well, if you can get me an address after the phone call, I'll work right on that. And most buildings, at least the floor plans, are public record in New York.
Yeah. All right. Well,
So, Zane, if I call the number in the advertisement, do I get a message service?
Yeah, operator.
I'm calling TA 463.
That's a New Jersey number.
It's printed in an advertisement. I'll take it from you.
We sit here for a New Jersey number. That number's been disconnected, sir.
Aha. Are you at liberty to tell me for what length of time it has been out of service?
Strictly speaking, we're not meant to do that. Sorry, sir.
It's entirely understandable.
you should be able to ask about the address that it's attached to, though.
But is there a name or address that was attached to that number while it was in service?
No, sorry, sir. All we've got here listed is New Jersey.
It's rather a large state.
I have the one moment.
The TA should put it into an area.
Weehawken, New Jersey.
Weehawken.
I know exactly where that is. Right across the river.
Well, I thank you for your time, operator. Good day.
No problem.
Well, now we have two missing parties.
Well, whether they're missing or whether it's a scam.
Well, I don't mean missing like he's been kidnapped. I mean missing like he's run off with a dentist and his fortune.
Right.
Which could be the very secret that he's been keeping from his wife.
Oh.
Stranger things have happened. Although
Wouldn't
again,
be the
you want
first
your
time.
wardrobe. So, does anyone know anything about Weehawken?
It's right across the Lincoln Tunnel, about 15-minute trip from Midtown Manhattan.
It's a strange
what?
place. Only strange people come from that there.
Heard most of the population of New Jersey are trying to escape.
Small town, named after a native tribe.
And we can't get an appointment, and he paid for his advertisement in the Times well enough in advance that it's still running, even though he's absconded.
Well, he's paid for 4 advertisements. He's had
Yeah, I
some
mean,
money.
He could have got a package deal. It could be a promotion they're running. It could be that he had to buy a minimum block of X, Y, and Z over a period of time.
Right. Did it by the month, which means he already had plenty of money to burn. Damn and blast.
It's probably, I think it would be safe to say this probably isn't the first number that's been disconnected.
Right.
I mean, if this guy is as good as from what the advertisements are boasting, then he's probably been in business quite a long time.
He would have a business license.
Exactly.
Which you might be able to trace back where he's been before. Unless he didn't have a business license.
Yeah, I'm thinking most con men wouldn't. Or if they did, it would be all
Fake.
fictitious.
Interstate rules vary as well.
I wonder, this missing men group, is it? I wonder
The
if
League of Forgotten Men.
League of Forgotten Men. I wonder if they have a rouster, and if this gentleman's name would be upon it.
Depends on if they're an illegal group or not. Yeah, look them up.
As I said, the League of Forgotten Men are quite often, they're in the paper quite often, and most recently, so it's not hard to find that they meet at a community hall in Brooklyn neighborhood, Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 7 till 9 p.m. And the meetings are open to the public.
So there's one tonight.
Yeah, because it's Wednesday today.
It's a rather distasteful but probably necessary investigation.
Do we suspect that they are some sort of fascist group? Yeah.
I believe so.
Makes me wonder who who they think they've been forgotten by.
A lot of those partisan groups of that persuasion were still resentful about the Great War, of course. Although the dentist won't have had anything to do with that directly. And certainly has hardly been forgotten by society. With his attractive young wife, an Upper East Side apartment, and lucrative business career.
I'm
So
thinking
we've got a
maybe
couple of. Go ahead.
Oh, you can go.
I was just going to say, so we have a couple of leads then. We have that meeting tonight, which is at 8 o'clock. Is that right?
7
to 9.
7 to 9. And then we've also got, we had the number, but it's dead. The only other thing I'm thinking.
Mr. Leopold Fontanelli, or whatever his last name was.
This is the one that got kicked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm just wondering if this Argus has a connection with the League, and maybe he would show up at the meeting.
That's possible.
That's where I was going with that.
If you go, you might end up finding. You might find Mr.
Leo.
Sterling there.
He has to be somewhere. In his only tweed suit. And he may be a true believer.
Well, I'm going to go look through the morgues and the hospitals. I'll come back here about 5 this afternoon and meet up with you. I'm debating. I'm not sure I want to be in any way associated with this league, and I don't exactly have a disguise. I stand out like a sore thumb, so I might not go, but I could stay here and coordinate.
I'll go with whoever.
I'll go.
We don't all need to go. You just waste your day wandering around going to hospitals. But tonight, yes.
Right, tonight, yeah.
Without a firm lead on our hypnotist, I may go and pay Melody a visit and have a look around the house, see if she's missed anything.
All right. We'll see you all later. And I get up and
Okay, so Damiel's going to check hospitals. Milton, you're going to go to Melody and Brandon's apartment. What are the other three doing?
You're a Jersey fellow, Wyatt. They only began digging the Lincoln Tunnel last year, and it's not slated to be finished for a couple more. Does one have to take a ferry to Weehawken?
Correct.
A ferry to Weehawken.
Well, it's not as bad as it sounds. That's where they had the Aaron Burr duel.
I suppose that's some historical interest. But is there a business district in Weehawken where a hypnotist would have an office?
Give me a idea roll.
Well, the reason we would go to New Jersey would be to look up records, and I think he's a con man, so I don't know if we want to take a whole day. It's going to be a half hour at least on the ferry, and then a couple hours in Jersey. If we want to get back to Brooklyn by 8 o'clock, I don't think it's Weehawken Day today.
Is that an idea roll for everyone?
It can be.
I made mine normal, 56.
Awesome.
11.
I rolled an extreme success, surprisingly.
So all of you that pass, all of a sudden realize that there's potentially that Oscar Kilgrave might know a bit more information on Leopold, so it could be worth a visit. But also the phone book. Look up some names in the phone book.
Yeah, you could ask the operator for the name. See if another number comes up for him.
You mean for August?
Yeah, for Argus. Maybe something else will turn up when you ask the operator.
Yeah, and it's
New York is one of the earliest cities that had a major phone book. So that's probably available too.
Sam. Ding.
Yes, Mr. Chambers.
May we have a phone book? And would you happen to have a New Jersey phone book?
Not exactly on hand, sir, but we can procure one for you.
That would be very good.
Not a worries. So he goes off and comes back a few moments later with a substantial book of New York phone numbers, and has told you that he has sent Sam down to a shop to procure a New Jersey phone book for you.
Excellent, thank you. I go to dig through the phone book, but first you see me unwind a big, kind of heavy chain from my wrist and put it on the table next to it.
You taking someone hostage?
Oh, and then I press a button and you see the chain shoots out to a staff about 3.5 foot.
And Sam goes flipping backwards.
No, I wait. I thought you'd seen this.
That's the first combat of the campaign.
And then I press a button and you see electricity shoot up and down the edge of the staff. And I press a button again and it wraps back down around.
I do apologize, Mr. Chambers, but Sam has said after your last experiment, we can't have any more calls from the fire department.
Oh, no, of course not. And I reach into my pocket and I hand him a little tip.
Thank you, sir.
Good day, sir.
So you want to go through the phone
Yeah,
book?
the phone book.
Give me a library use.
20 out
Cool.
of 45.
So it doesn't take you kind of too long. You cannot find a Ferdinand Argus listed in the phone book, but you do find a Leopold Fontanelli, and there is an address.
I found good old Leo. Do we know why he was kicked out? Do we have any of that insight?
You don't know. You don't know the details now.
Yeah, there was. Well, we can ask Oscar, and I think that's the next phone call. He might also know, without even having recourse to his library, what that tree symbol is attached to. If you'd like to call Fontanelli, he of the soft skull, feel free. Otherwise, I'll go right ahead and see if Oscar's in.
Somebody could call.
So
I'll
Daniel's gone. He's gone to the hospital to, or the morgues and so forth to do that. So it's just the four of you guys left. Okay. Who's
I'm gonna be making my way to Melody's anyway.
That's right. You've headed off to so it's just Owen, Wyatt, and Marsden left in Eats Minor.
Before we call Leo, what would we be looking to ask him?
Well, that's why I was thinking I would call Oscar, because I don't know what Fontanelli will tell us, unless, of course, he's been camping all week with Brendan, and there's been a banking error. I think statistically that's quite unlikely.
Call the other one first.
Yes.
And
Can
we're
I
looking
find
to
Kilgrave in. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so we're looking to see if they are aware of the symbol, if they're aware of the hypnotist, and if they're familiar with the League of Forgotten Gentlemen. Is that right?
And what he fought with Fontanelli over.
Yes, that's right.
And whether he knew anything or noticed anything strange about Brendan, as he's also a member of the society.
Right.
So you're going to call Kilgrave.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm going to try to. I'm afraid that number is no longer in service.
No, after a few rings, the phone is answered. This is the Kilgrave residence. Who may I ask is speaking?
This is Marsden Lethbridge for Mr. Kilgrave. Is he in?
Yes, sir. Just a moment.
Thank you.
A few moments pass, and the phone picked up again. Yes, this is Kilgrave.
Lethbridge here. Thanks for picking up.
Marsden, you've returned. How was your little tour with the others?
Again, I thought that there were some items of geographical interest, and I suppose it was a success if debunking is what we desired. Nothing.
It all helps, Lethbridge. It all helps.
Yes, nothing turned up of any preternatural interest. We've just had a visit from Mrs. Sterling, Brendan's wife, Melody.
Yes.
Yes.
How is she?
She's in a great deal of distress. Brendan has gone missing.
Oh.
Does that strike you as unusual, particularly?
Yes. He was at the last meeting with Melody. I mean, he was acting somewhat strange. I thought he was sick, under the weather with the flu or something along those lines. But no, he's missing you, sir.
Well, it's interesting to know that you'd already seen that he was in some distress. Yes. She said he was acting strangely. He's been receiving hypnosis from this Ferdinand Argus fellow. Has he come across your field of view?
No.
He was a hypnotist operating in Weehawken, New Jersey. So the short version is that they've been spending time together. Brendan's cleared out the bank account, gone missing. and the hypnotist is no longer answering his telephone.
How strange. Well, of course, Melody is a member of the society, so we can more than cover her any expenses that she needs covered. That's not a problem. I can get that seen to quick smart. As for this hypnotist, what was the name you said?
It's Ferdinand Argus, Argus.
Yes.
And he employs an interesting symbol in his advertisement. It's an oval insignia with an arched, trunked tree with branches that radiate only upward from one side of the trunk. It seems
strange.
Yeah.
And you said this was in the paper?
He advertised with it, yes.
Clinton, could you please bring me today's Times, and also jot down this name, Ferdinand Argus, Weehawken, New Jersey. See what you can find on that.
The advertisement in today's paper is on page, which is that? 46.
46.
Lower left.
Thank you very much, Clinton. Yes, I've just got the paper here. One moment. 46. And the phone goes quiet for a few moments. Marsden, I think it's best you come here.
I see. Very well. I'm with Owen and Wyatt. Should we all come out?
Just you for now. I think you may have stumbled upon something that you shouldn't have.
I understand. I'll should I get a? I'll get a car and see you shortly.
I can send a car. That's not a problem. Just sit tight. You're at Bargles, I'm assuming.
We're at Bargles, quite.
All right. Yes, I'll send a car for you, Marsden. Keep this between you and the group. Yes.
Yes, quite understood. Thanks, Oscar. See you shortly.
Not a problem. And the phone goes dead.
Well, if Oscar's upset about something, gentlemen, it can't be pretty.
Definitely not.
Did he say why, or was he cryptic?
Rather the latter, yes. I mean, you know, head of the Arcane Society, he likes a bit of mystery.
But he was cryptic about the bake sale last year, so...
Right.
Was it that kind of cryptic or like really cryptic?
I am led
Sorry.
to suspect and come alone.
Is he disconnecting?
Are you? I think you.
We lost you.
I think it's something on the serious side of his cryptic nature, in that he requested that we keep things quiet in the group and that I come to see him alone. He clearly recognized the strange tree.
Okay.
That is strange.
Yes, it was. You know, he didn't. He sounded. Honestly, he sounded a bit shocked.
Oh yeah, I could tell from your facial expression that I knew it wasn't pretty.
It just
Do my facial expressions ever suggest something is pretty?
You know what I meant.
So I'm off to the longer part of the island. I don't know that I'll be back in time for the meeting of the debased buffoons in Brooklyn.
Well, I'll definitely go to the Brooklyn meeting. Deutsche.
Shall we both go then?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so Damiel, you're going to spend most of the day searching around all the hospitals and
Looking
such.
at dead bodies, yeah, probably.
Yeah. And obviously nothing turns up. There's a couple of John Does that fit some descriptions, but you go in and none of them are Brandon. You know what Brandon looks like, so
That's good
pretty
news.
much. Yeah, that's pretty much your day. Marsden, you wait for probably another kind of 40 minutes, and eventually Sam comes up and says, Mr. Lethbridge, there is a car waiting outside for you.
Very good, Sam.
And you go down, and there's a very long Rolls Royce set up there with a driver who nods at you and opens the back door for you, and you sit in. Milton, you headed off to thing, which we'll plan to see. What are Owen and Wyatt going to do? Because you've got a long wait before the. It's still morning at this point, so there's a long wait before. Well, it's around about midday, but yeah, the meeting in Brooklyn's for quite some time. So,
what do you think about trying to find old newspaper articles to see if he's performed in any public venues? Because I'm thinking if those venues are nearby, we can go and speak to some of the staff to see if there was anything peculiar that went on.
All right, that works. I was thinking about maybe seeing if we could find any other information about the meeting or the group itself, and also if we could see if there's any arrest reports for Argus.
That sounds good. Well, sure, we'll do your ideas because they sound more practical for now.
Well, we could go to the library and research all three of them, and then go to a police station in the area. I don't know where his place was. Well, let's do the research first.
Yeah, we'll make tracks now, and then we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
whose place was?
Well, we didn't get an address for Argus, so, but the public, I don't know if they did it then, but they would put arrest reports in the newspapers. I don't know.
You do have Leopold's address, though, just remember.
Yeah, I'm going to wait until Marsden asks some more info on that. So we could go to the New York Public Library and...
You sure can.
dig in.
Yeah, I think it would be better if we approached Leopold with a bit more context.
Right.
Okay, so you guys make your way over to the library. You can both give me library use checks for now.
25. So just the normal.
No, that's a fumble. I rip some of the newspapers.
Okay, cool. So I'll get back to what that role is going to mean in a moment. But right now, we're going to do a role play of Milton arriving at Melody in Brendan's apartment. So it's like a Tudor house kind of apartment sort of type thing. She calls it an apartment, but it's a pretty substantial kind of, place that they live in, up on the Upper East Side. Yeah.
I'll arrive by cab and head over to the front door, and hopefully have got there after she's got back, and just give it a knock.
After a few moments, Melody comes to the door, and she's still looking distressed, but there's a bit more color in her cheeks, and she seems to kind of, oh, Milton, is there any more updates? Have you found him?
Well, if we had, that would have set a world record, I think, for finding someone. No, unfortunately not. I mainly came by just to have, if it's okay with you, to have a look around to see maybe if there was anything you missed, anything that might be here that might give us a bit more of a clue. Another set of eyes never hurts looking over things.
Of course, yes. Please come in.
Yeah, I'll head on in.
So as you come in for the front door, to your left, you can sort of see looks into kind of a lounge or sitting room, and to the right is a dining room. And then directly in front of you, there's the corridor going down and then stairs going up to the second floor.
Gotcha.
So she leads you through to the sitting room. And could I get you a drink or something, or would you like to start looking around straight away?
Oh, I could murder a coffee.
Yes, that's fine. Why don't you start? His study's upstairs, and feel free to look through our bedroom as well. I trust you, and I'll put the kettle on.
Okay, yeah, you find me upstairs in his office then.
Fine. So she walks off to the kitchen, and you can make your way upstairs. As you get to the second landing, directly in front of you is a bathroom. Got a bath, pretty basic. Toilet is in a separate room. It's a water closet off the side. Directly to your left, with the door open ajar, you can see what looks like a kind of quite oak the desk, table, and kind of some bookcases on the wall. And then just next to that is look through into the bedroom by the looks of it. And then there's a guest room off to the other side.
Okay, going into the bedroom first of all then, is there quite an obvious separation of this is his stuff, this is her stuff?
Yeah, there's quite literally at the foot of the bed, there's a bureau, and on either side is almost like two doorways, and it's very clearly like a him and hers closet type situation. So one side, nice women's dresses and high heels and the like, and on the other side, suits, ties, hats, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. I'm looking for anything that would be considered like male jewelry, so any signet rings, cufflinks, tie pins, clasps, anything like that.
Give me a spot hidden.
Right. Oh, 1! Hey, my dice love me.
You don't find any rings or bracelets or anything along those lines, but in the pocket of one of his overcoats, you do find a white cloth armband.
Okay, that's unusual. Anything?
Because you got such a good roll on your spot in as well. There's no, like, every hanger in the closet has an item on it. It doesn't seem like anything's missing. The drawers seem to have, like, there's kind of no gaps. It's all very well, yeah.
Is there anything on the armband, or is it just plain white?
It's just plain white.
Someone's gone to an anti-funeral.
Kind of so thick.
Okay, I'll put that back where I found it. In which case, if there's nothing of a personal nature like that, there's a kind of hard object, I'll go to the office and see if I can find any, like if he had a well-used pen or anything of any note of stationery then that would fit the bill.
Sure. So as you go into the study, as I said, there's the large oak desk with the green leather topper, and then quite a large high back, nice chair. You'd probably find this quite comical that a dentist has this elaborate and kind of fancier study. But obviously Brandon has quite a lot of interest in kind of esoteric stuff and the occult and so on and so forth. He's got quite a few books here himself of occulty things and so on and so forth. He's got a couple of kind of souvenirs on the wall from expeditions he's gone on with Melee to various places, and that's what you see when you first walk in.
Okay, I'll go over to that lovely Chesterfield-like chair.
Yeah.
Sit down in that and get myself comfortable and have a look around and I open up the drawers immediately in front of him. Anything in like the side pedestals or cabinets that there are there.
Because you had such a good roll on your spot hidden, I'll let you have this one. You notice on his he has a notepad on his desk off to one side, and you notice that there's part of the notepad has been ripped, like the page has been ripped off, and on the page you can see the letters K-E-T, and then the rest is ripped off, but you can see that there's an indent on the page beneath.
Time to bring out that pencil then.
Cool.
Start very softly going across.
Yeah. So you manage to kind of, you go across it very, very lightly, and you pick up the other letters H-N-O-S.
H-M-O-S. Kethnos.
Sorry, not M, N. N, as in no, N.
Kethnos.
Yeah.
Okay. Does the word ring any bells?
No.
No. Again, it has, well, counts, almost sounds kind of Greek or Latinate. Fair enough.
Give me it's technically a smell, but give me a listen check.
Okay.
Give me a sense check.
59 is a regular success.
Awesome. You all of a sudden get you can smell a strangely sweet kind of aroma around this room. Very, very much like coming from like it's strongest by the chair. And it's like it's a florally, so it's flowery, but it's unlike any kind of other floral kind of. It's not like potpourri or anything. It's stronger than that, but you get it's very, when you turn your head into the chair, you can get it even stronger.
Very weird. I've not got any background with drugs, so I have absolutely no idea what the hell that is. However, that might give me a helping hand, because my intention is to come up here and surround myself with his things and his life. I'm going to bring up my notepad, start drawing with one of his pens, and see if I can, use my clairvoyance to get any kind of idea as to what connection there is to him.
Okay. So, let's get the old. What page of a?
84.
84. Good.
I'm looking at the last paragraph in particular, which is certain objects may assist in a reading, such as a photograph of a missing person or a personal object to the clairvoyant hero, etc.
Okay, so roll me a 1d6.
Okay. 3.
Okay, so this can take 3 rounds of time.
Hopefully she's still making coffee.
Give me another 1d6.
2.
Okay, it's going to take you 3 plus 1, so 2 plus 1, so 3 points of magic points you're going to take.
Yep.
And you're going to roll your so this is, you've got to roll your clairvoyance first, and if you pass, then that'll be what you take. Yeah. So roll your clairvoyance.
14. So that's a, under my hard is 25. So yep, that's a hard. What the hell? I'll burn 4 points of luck and make it an extreme.
Okay. So you sort of take a moment to kind of sit there and kind of get into the, you've got the name Kethnos, and you've got the smell around you, and you've got your piece of paper, and you sort of sit there and start to kind of, thing, and all of a sudden, you can see like a purple sky, and in front of you is quite a tall kind of tower made out of stone, and you can see things flying around in the sky, but you can't get a good look of what these things are. But the main thing you notice is you can hear screaming and kind of cloudy images are rushing past you in all different directions, and it's just you're getting a sense of pure terror and just chaos.
When you say screaming, can I ascertain, is it a small number of people? Is it a large group? Is it male? Is it female? Or is it blurred?
The whole, yeah, it's very much a cacophony of screams and yeah.
Okay. Do I need to make a sound check for that?
Yep.
Oh boy. Come on, Persaloo-san. 13. That's a pass.
Okay. Yeah. No. So just take the 1 for that.
Yeah.
And give me a luck roll.
I'll spend some luck. 98 is definitely a fail.
Okay. In that case, all of a sudden you were shaken out of your kind of vision that you were having, and Melody is standing in front of you with her hand on your shoulder. Are you all right, Milton? You were screaming.
I was screaming.
Yes. I was making the coffee and you.
I probably want a bigger mug.
Right. Yes. I'll be right back. Don't move. I'll bring some something as well to something a bit stronger possibly.
Yeah. I certainly won't say no.
And as you look down at your piece of paper, it's not like brilliantly drawn or whatever, but you can see you've drawn a tall tower with kind of a portico at the top and like a spires around the top.
Oh boy.
So leave you with that to let that all sink in. Marsden, the drive over to Long Island takes probably about 45 minutes with traffic in New York and the like. And you pull up outside the house and the driver lets you out and then drives the car off. At the door, you're met by Clinton, Oscar Kilgrave's manservant, butler, bodyguard, what have you. He's an ex-soldier, very well-built man, British. Mr. Lethbridge, if you would follow me, I'll take you through to the library. Mr. Kilgrave will be with you in just a moment.
Thank you, Clinton.
And he leads you through this quite large kind of entranceway with a double staircase going up to the second level. And he takes you directly under the staircase to a very large room. This is normally where most of the meetings are held for the Arcane Society. So it's quite an expansive room and books around the wall. There's various desks where people can sit and study. But off by the fireplace, there is it's been set up. There's a tray with drinks and so forth on it. And Clinton gestures for you to sit down in one of the large armchairs.
Thank you, Clinton.
And then he leaves the room.
I spritz myself a pure tonic.
Fair enough.
Quinine is good.
After a few moments, your host enters the room. As I described last week, Kilgrave is a quite handsome man, olive-skinned, slicked back hair with goatee. He at this current stage is wearing a very crisp white shirt, a double-breasted waistcoat, and striped pants with a red cravat. And he comes over to where you're sitting and reaches out his hand and shakes your hand. Lethbridge, thank you so much for coming.
Certainly, Kilgrave. It seemed rather urgent.
Yes. This image that you said our poor Brandon is associated with the man who uses this image. Is that correct?
That is very much so.
I've seen this image in my my travels. I must admit I do not know much of it, but this image pertains to an amulet from now. Stay with me, Lethbridge.
Yeah.
An ancient society, an ancient race of people who were here far before we were, supposedly.
Supposedly, but this is no Rosicrucian nonsense or Thothian humbuggery. This is something that might actually be ancient.
Oh, yes. I mean, from the research that I've done and the people I've spoken to of such things, yes, there's definitely strong potential in this.
I see. And it must be fairly esoteric.
Oh, yes, very much.
When I saw it, I was hoping there'd be something in your library that would help identify it, because it struck me as unusual. But I haven't run across it myself.
Unfortunately, I don't think any of my books were would be able to suffice in this happenstance. But I could possibly put word to those at Miskatonic and see if they would potentially be able to lend me some things.
So this group, is it a fraternity or a cult or?
Well, there's potential that, I mean, cults follow all kinds of strange, weird, and wonderful different people. You must remind me to tell you of a strange group of people that came out of a place called Innsmouth. But that is a completely different story. There's potential there could be a cult that are looking into such things, which this nemesis of yours might be a member of. But this particular amulet was wielded by this particular race, and this ancient race. Tell me, Lethbridge, have you heard the name Lomar?
Lomar?
Yes.
Lomar?
Yes.
Shall I roll or?
Yeah, sure. Give me an occult roll. It would have to be a
I have
considerably good roll.
Yes, that would have to be magic since I have nothing. I wasted a 12 on a 5 occult.
Spend some luck. Spend luck.
Bloody good point. I am not used to pulp.
12? Yeah, you've got luck to burn.
Yeah, if I spend 11, that's a 1.
There you go. You know everything about Lomar. Campaign's finished,
Lomar?
guys.
Lomar, you say?
So yeah, you have heard speak of Lomar. It's one of those ancient civilizations that's akin to those of like Atlantis. It's currently spoken of that sort of level. Was here on Earth, but quite like the Roman Empire and that of Atlantis and those things like it. The hidden city of El Dorado. It's kind of widely seen as a myth and so on and so forth, and it didn't really happen. But you have heard talk of this ancient race, and they were kind of most famously known for the high intellect of supposedly this race and group of people, and would even dabble in the power of the mind.
And when you say race in this context, are we to understand that these are not precisely humans that were the people of Lomar?
Well, if they were humans, then they definitely had help from elsewhere.
And you associate this image with Lomar, Kilgrave?
Yes. It's an image that pertains to an amulet that their high priest would wear. It goes by the name of the Crystal of Nafkon. That's Naphkon.
Nafkon, all right. Now, my first difficulty you'll see is that should this Argus fellow, and that's almost certainly not his authentic name, should he have some connection to this ancient civilization of sages, that might give him the ability to use hypnosis to abuse people, but one would expect that he would be sufficiently wise not to wish to beggar a dentist for personal gain seems not at all in keeping with the behavior of an ancient culture.
I do agree. It's definitely something we should, as far as the society goes, look into. Since you and your associates, by the sounds of it, have already stumbled upon it. I know you've just returned from your trip that you all went on, but do you believe the others would be happy to look into this for the society?
Oh, I certainly think so. Many of them seem quite comically, emotionally moved by the distress of Melody. Is her name?
Yes.
You know,
Melody. Yes, I've already sent some people to rectify Brandon's actions. You said he emptied their bank account.
He has vanished and beggared her, and he also seems to have fallen in with distasteful companions, including, if you'll forgive my mentioning the name, Mr. Fontanelli.
Leopold Fontanelli.
It might be advisable under these circumstances, Oscar, if you were to explain something of the nature of your falling out.
Well, it's quite simple, Marston. You see, Leopold is a part of a group called the League of the Forgotten Men, who have certain beliefs, shall we say.
They're of the ugly populist variety, yes?
Yes, and quite simply, I am Jewish.
I assume the family name was changed then, Kilgrave. Although Oscar, yeah, it's interesting.
Yes, at some point, my grandfather, you know how names change over time and whatnot. But yes, Fontanelli was organizing a coup of sorts, as it was, within the society. He was trying to overthrow me and my dirty blood.
As if anything should be remotely political about the search of knowledge and wisdom. What a vile and petty thing.
Could not agree more, Marston. And that is why, after many months of putting up with his questionable views, I asked him to leave the society. He took a few of our members with him who had such beliefs. And, well, that is when not long after the League began.
Now, I should not have thought that Brendan would be likely to follow such a schism, but it appears he has. I wonder
is
if this
strange.
has something to do, again, with the influence of this dubious hypnotist who uses this ancient symbol.
All I can say, Marston, is if this hypnotist of yours is using this symbol, they do not underestimate him. If he knows anything of the true knowledge of Lomar and the people of Lomar, then it is quite possible that he has powers we cannot even begin to comprehend.
The amulet itself is an object of considerable potency.
Oh yes, if the stories are anything to go by.
So if
I don't know
somehow-
exactly, but it's worth making some calls at least.
Certainly. If somehow this supposed Argus should have come across this amulet, it would aid him in perhaps coercing otherwise reasonable individuals.
Yes, I would say so. Those with a weak enough mind.
Well, this would seem... Melody seemed impervious to it. She found also that he had a repugnant incense that he employed.
Well, one thing I have learned about Melody is she's quite strong-minded.
So the Sterlings are an unequal partnership, but we should try to keep both of them alive for her sake.
But possibly as well that this hypnotist of yours was still getting used to using the crystal or the amulet, and so though it was able to work on Brendan, he wasn't able to make it work on Melody.
And he may, in fact, have been experimenting on her to that end.
Yes, of course. How long has had Brendan been seeing this hypnotist?
I believe she said they met in the springtime. Oh, it is the springtime.
January, she mentioned.
A few months, and the change in his behavior was gradual.
Right. So, yes, it could be. As you said, like her on the one case didn't enjoy it, so she didn't keep going. Whereas if he had continuous treatments, as it were, yes, it could knock away at his psyche. And you said there was a strange smelling incense as well.
Yes, she found it quite repugnant, overwhelming.
How strange. Well,
I
as I
suspect that
said,
there might be a narcotic component.
yeah, there's definitely potential. Well, as I said, though, Marsden, definitely keep this between you and the group. But if you could look into this and keep me updated as you can. Yes, if you need anything, you only need to call, and the society will, of course, cover any costs required.
Very thoughtful of you. Any further material on the Lomar, I think, is a good place to start.
Yes, definitely look into anything you can on the myths and legends of Lomar and learn more of that if you can.
Was there a geographical area associated with that culture?
Off the top of my head, no, I can't recall one, unfortunately.
Fair enough. Well, I make it back into the city proper in time to attend one of the meetings of these forgotten men. We're hoping to find Brendan there, since he's been seen nowhere else.
Cool. So so if you're heading towards the meeting that starts at 7, what I'll do is I'll jump over to Owen and Wyatt. So you guys spend most of the day kind of searching around the library and so on and so forth, and you don't find anything there as to the articles in the paper popped up at about 2 years ago, but anything before that, there's just no trace of a Ferdinand Argus anywhere. You can't find any business records or anything like that. It's just all of a sudden Ferdinand Argus just appeared in New York City and started.
The only thing we could find are his adverts. Okay.
Just that advert. That is the only thing you can make any sense of. His name's not the name and numbers not in the phone book. There's no police records on a Ferdinand Argus. Yeah. So all you have in regards to that was the disconnected number and Weehawken, New Jersey.
Now, what about any articles on the League of Forgotten Men?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of articles about them starting up a couple of years ago and slowly building reputation, and views of the current U.S. Policies and everything like that and treatment.
Now, can I surmise, are they almost like a hate group?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very much. And a couple of images probably in some of the newspapers. As I said, mostly it's almost mainly white men. And in all the images, they're all standing there and they all wear a white armband on their jackets. And under one of the articles, it said the New York chapter of the League of Forgotten Men photoed in center current president Ross Seabrook.
Ross Seabrook?
Yeah.
I look over the table at Dorcha and I say, if there's one thing I hate in this life, it's bullies. And this, and I not throw at him, but throw the newspaper on the table, is a bunch of damn bullies. Excuse my language.
Nothing worse than bigotry.
And he cracks his knuckles.
So it is a hate group, pretty much.
Well, if he got mixed up with them, and if this Argus fellow is with the League, maybe they brainwashed him into being a despicable human or brought something out that existed somewhere in the recesses of his mind.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, people that are open to hate so easily are quite feeble-minded themselves. However, and I hate to say this, it may be in our benefit to brainwash ourselves a little bit for this meeting.
Oh, give Milton a little whirl?
Just to blend in case. I mean, I'm white and Irish, I'll be fine.
Oh, we'll blend in. We just need to put on a happy face, even though it's turning our stomachs.
Yeah. We'll just play our cards close to our chest, I guess.
Yeah. Is there any photos in the newspaper with the groups? There's pictures of them. Yep. Can we go through the pictures a little finer and look to see if we recognize anybody? Maybe Leo or Argus or...
You only have the description of Argus, and he's quite, with the pointed beard, but nothing. Right. He doesn't pop up. You don't know what Leopold looks like, so you have no way of knowing.
Oh, I thought we had known him from the group before he was ejected.
No, he was gone before you came in.
Oh, okay.
You heard speak of him being kicked out.
Then forget that idea.
Then there's no images of Brandon.
All right.
But you're going to make your way over to the meeting?
Probably stop off at the Anvil first and then over to the meeting. The Anvil is Doc
didn't we plan to regroup at Bargles at 5?
I believe so. That was the plan, yeah. So, so you guys all head back to Bargles, and we'll leave it there for tonight as you prepare to potentially go to tonight's meeting of the League of Forgotten Men in Brooklyn.
That was great. That was a great first session.
Indeed. All right. Our players included Jason Melichok, Matthew Sanderson, David Gasaway, Mark Anthony, and myself, with Zane Fleming as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with our other members. You can set up private games. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. There's a link below. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.